Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live session. Gary, um, Tottenham nil, United 3. This guy is a bloody German cockroach. He finds a way to survive a nuclear attack.
Chai,
Oh,
not only
man.
did I say we were going to win, I
Uh,
said 3-0. I said 3-0. Because I think, look, this is what Solskjaer does best. When he's against
yeah,
the corner, when he's back into the corner, and there's no way out, he somehow
yeah.
finds a way. His players will pull something out of the bag for him. And look, to be fair, I thought Spurs were pretty average today. Um, yeah.
I think,
Their
I
coach,
think Nuno survived survived the, actually not survived, but basically, I think he's winning the sack race, I think.
yeah,
I think
look,
there were two clubs today who played, both managers under pressure, and I think Ole's just had a better overall team and quality to kind of put this. Um, let's actually go through a few key points, right? Um, there have been a lot of debate last week, Gary, saying, okay, is Conte going to replace Ole? And Conte plays a system that United is not used to. He plays five at the back. What do we do with the wingers? There's been a lot of discussions left, right, and center about Conte's potential system and how it won't suit United and how short term it is. But isn't Ole played five at the back today? And I I just didn't feel confident. Okay, we got a clean sheet, but we had seven defensive players in that team. What did you think about the formation?
Chai, he had to change something, Chai. We've been going through this awful streak where we're
Yeah,
conceding goals left and center. And I had an inkling that he was going to play with five at the back, right? I had an
right.
inkling there, considering Varane was back.
Yeah,
Maguire was never going to get dropped. Lindelof
yeah,
was probably one of our better defenders.
yeah,
And then Wan Bissaka and Luke Shaw are given. So those five there are, pretty much, they're set in stone. They're going to play. And
yeah,
then you've got the likes of look, Fred and McTominay are going to be there as well. Okay, you're not
yeah,
going to change them. What surprised me is the two up front with Cavani and
yeah,
Ronaldo. I thought they
yeah,
did really well. I thought they gave us a lot of movement up front. I think they work
yeah,
really well as a partnership, right?
yeah,
So I was quite surprised to see that, but I'm happy that it worked. But
yeah,
again, Chai, the question is, look, am I happy? Yes, I'm happy. We won the game.
yeah,
But can United do this throughout the rest of the season?
yeah.
That's a question that we need to really answer, right?
And
And
there are these three crucial points, dude. And I'll tell you why these three could the 3 points that we won against Spurs is particularly important. We saw Liverpool draw, we saw City lose, and Arsenal win, right? I think these are the three main contenders. I think in whichever space. Chelsea is Chelsea. Chelsea is the team to beat this season. Let's accept that, and then let's move on with Chelsea, right? I think Liverpool dropping points and City dropping points. I think it became imperative that we win. And look, considering what's going on, I think that we needed a morale boost, and I think to some extent this serves the purpose. There were, I think, Spurs did. I can't recognize the Spurs team at all. L- Kane is just a shadow of a player that he was. I think it's still the Euros hangover that is still plaguing him. I think there have been a lot of talks of him leaving Spurs, so he didn't show. And let's be fair, right? I think on a different day, Son scores at least one of those two chances he had.
easy, Chai. And I think I look at Spurs. I don't look. You look at the way they play, and I think
Yeah,
it's a bit like where the players not sure what they're meant to do. Especially when you look at the goal that Cavani scored,
yeah,
there were two or three guys marking Ronaldo. Cavani was free to do
yeah,
whatever he had to do, and it
yeah.
was ridiculous how he got that much space and time on the
Space.
ball. And
Yeah,
it's look, I think we were very lucky playing against
yeah,
this Spurs team.
yeah,
Spurs look like a team that their captain Kane doesn't want to be there.
yeah,
Is basically waiting for the next transfer window to open so he can go off to City or wherever it is.
yeah,
Son, I don't know. Son looks terrible as well. I thought he
Mm,
had two or three chances where I should have really put it the back of the net. And
yeah.
then I look at the midfield, there's nothing there as well, Chai.
There's
You know, they're getting they're getting outplayed by McFred in midfield. So there's a big concern that, I mean, you can't get any lower than that, right? I mean,
yeah, that's true.
this is the thing. So when I put all of this together, look, it's a good win end of the day, right? It's a
Yeah,
great win.
yeah,
We are on par with Arsenal. I think right now we're fifth.
yeah.
So, we're still there amongst the rest of the pack.
Mm.
But again, Chai, are we going to be there at the end of the season? I don't know. United has got this thing where they go through this unbeaten streak, and then all of a sudden they'll come up, and then they'll win four, five, six, seven in a
Yeah,
row, and then we'll go through another poor form again, poor run
yeah.
of form again, and then yeah, it's just rinse and repeat for me. Just
So let me ask you this question: how did that formation feel for you? Did you feel comfortable? Do you think that'll be a formation he'll play moving forward? And I think the more pertinent question I have for all the United fans or whoever's watching this stream is: do you think it's sustainable? Do you think he's just changed this for this game and probably in the next few games he's probably going to revert? What are we going to do with the wingers that we bought and Sancho who's sitting on the bench? Does he get game time? Rashford's going to fucking start from the bench as well in this case. Moving forward, there are a lot of. I don't. I think it's a very, in my opinion, I think he's just changed it as a reaction to what happened at Liverpool. Now, is this
yeah.
sustainable moving forward? I didn't think we planned to buy players who would fit this formation. And I think a lot of players that we bought will probably lose out.
Shy, exactly. You're right. We've got so many wingers in a team with this five three
Yeah,
two system.
yeah,
Are we even going to be able to use them? Because when I look
yeah,
at Sancho and when I look at Greenwood, where do they kind of fit in that system, right?
exactly.
And so the question is, why have we suddenly gone to this? And
Yeah,
why have you decided that you needed Sancho and Greenwood in your team if you're going to play a 5-3-2 system? I think
correct.
there's lots of questions that need to be answered, and I don't think
Yeah,
we'll get the answer because right now all we want to do is we want to survive. We want to stay close to the pack, and so Solskjaer's, dude, how many goals have we considered? I think we've considered as much as we've scored in the league right now.
I think our goal
So
difference after this game is slightly improved. I mean, we got a clean sheet. That's a positive. I think it was +4 last time. I think it should be +7 or something like that, in my
plus seven,
opinion, anyway.
yeah. So look, we're considering goals left and center, and right now Solskjaer is pretty much on damage limitation.
Yeah,
To stop us from conceding goals. So I'm very surprised. I'm going to be surprised as to what we do midweek against
yeah.
Atlanta because Atlanta play with a 5-3-2 system
Mm-hmm.
and they're very well drilled with that system. So I don't know what Solskjaer does. Look, if he goes and uses the same system and we beat them, then
Yep.
great, credit to him.
Yep.
But I just don't see how we're going to play Atlanta off the park with this system that they are, accustomed to.
Man, what frustrates me as well is when you're playing. Okay, you're playing a 5-3-2, right? So you have basically your wingers need to do. They did. I mean, your wing backs are the powerhouses, right? A credit where Van Bissaka had a good game, in my opinion, anyway. I think he put in some crucial tackles at the end, which kind of saved us. But overall, I don't. Megfred are the possibly two worst midfielders to have in that system, in my opinion. You could see that when Matic came on, right? So Matic came on, plays a wonderful through ball to Rashford, and he scores.
Yeah.
I think the quality of Matic at whatever he is, 32 or whatever, 33 that he is still better than McFred. I don't see McFred passing. I mean, McTominay, I could see
Yeah.
him pass that through ball, but I can't see Fred do so.
Yeah. Look, I think the problem is Chai. We've got too many defenders there, too many players who we need more creativity there in the middle of the
Yeah,
park. And I don't think McFred does that. I think if you're playing with five at the back, you've got enough solidity at the back, so you
yeah.
can potentially take off either Fred or McTominay and play in with the Matic there to
Matic
hopefully
or
give
Van
you a
de
bit of
Beek, right? I think this
yeah,
would
just keep
this.
exactly. We just put someone there who's able to hold the ball, find through passes, and keep it neat. So I
Yeah,
don't think yeah, I don't know how we do against the rest of the league with
yeah,
this set of players that we've got. I think some changes have to come into play. Look, if he wants to go to 5-3-2 and we go in an unbeaten run, we win the next 20 games or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
somehow we miraculously win the league, then you know what? I'm going to give Solskjaer all his plaudits, right? Because he's
Hmm.
done it. But until I see something substantial with
Yeah.
what he's doing right now, I mean, let me put it this way, right, Chai? I think this game was one of the first games in a long time that I've seen United actually play with the system. It was quite clear what we were going to do. But then again, I've got to really question, was it our actual system or was it how
Yeah.
poor Tottenham were in the game? This is what you can't lose sight because we've been so poor this season.
Hmm.
Again, we've come against a really poor Tottenham, who
Yeah.
really, in essence, they could have probably scored one or two goals, and that offside goal that really should have. Okay, it was an offside, but if that had gone in,
Yeah.
uh, do we come back and win the game, Chai?
No.
No.
See, absolutely. That you make a wonderful, wonderful point, Girish. I think that is the thing that we need to actually evaluate, right? If we were to go behind in this game, would we have the attacking prowess to actually put this over the line? And for me, the answer is no. Right?
Mm.
For me, the answer is no because I couldn't see them. There was one thing that was very clear. Varane's come back, right? He conceded 5 goals in the last weekend. He
Mm.
kind of wanted to tighten the ship at the back, right? Now, if we were to have gone behind, do you, I don't know, it could have been a different result. In the same way, when we said if Bruno would have scored the goal against Liverpool, it would have been different. I think this would have been a very different game if Tottenham would have scored first, right?
As Solskjaer puts it, it's what
It's
tight
fine
margins or
margins.
whatever. It's fine
Fine
margins, that's
margins.
it.
Oh my God, him and his fine margins. But
But you know what? Actually, listening to his post-match conference, he came out and he said that as a United player, you need to give all your best when you're on the pitch. If not, you're not going to get a start. So I wonder if there's a question to Van de Beek, Sancho, and Greenwood's attitudes because they didn't come in. So I don't know, like I don't know whether there's
dude,
issues
but this
there.
is uh, it's so surprising, right? You just okay. Let's First of all, I don't see this 5-3-2 being sustainable. In my opinion, it's not going to be because there are a lot of players out there who's not going to get into the team with this formation, right? So the only other change that I could see is probably Telles will have more games if they decide to drop Lindelof and Luke Shaw plays the left side centre back in that back three system, and Telles plays on the left wing, right, as a left wing back. Uh, but here's a question: where you going to? I'm going to name 5 players who don't fit the system, and obviously we paid 78 million for a right winger. We have Greenwood, generational talent. We have Pogba, who's on the midst of not signing a contract and assuming he'll leave this season, but he still has to. He still will create a toxic culture if he doesn't play, and he'll pitch and moan, and Riolo is going to come back and say something and stuff like that. There's Matic who's never going to get in the team. Van de Beek's done and dusted. Rashford's not going to get in the team unless and until he rotates Cavani off, and
Mhm.
it's just very. It's not a very nice place to be in,
Chai,
no?
this is the thing that annoys me, right? We've gone on this rant. Okay, United have gone on this whole campaign about youth, courage, success, right? Where is the youth, Chai? I don't understand. What are we trying to do?
Dude, we have
I
two
mean,
senior citizens playing up front. What youth?
we've bought all these young players, all these talented players, and we've not really used them. I mean, are we even coaching them? Are they just sitting on the bench? Are they rotting on the bench? These are questions that I really want to know what's happening there.
Uh,
It's frustrating because we knew he was going to change the system today, right? We knew he
Correct.
was going to try something different. He's
Yeah.
tried it. Now he's won. So, now it's in the back of his mind is like, yes, this is what I'm going to stick to now because I'm on survival
Yeah.
mode. I've got to
Yeah.
win the next 5, 6 games
Yeah.
until the next loss, and then he's out of ideas again. So, look, for me, it's this whole thing with Solskjaer is not sustainable, Chai. I think he's got to go, and I think I don't know what we do. I'm worried now, right?
Yeah.
Because I've got a strange feeling, and I'm going to tell you now. I think we go this week. I think we beat Atlanta, and I
Yeah.
think we beat City as well. So then, what happens then after that?
He's going to stay in charge for the longer term, right? At least 6 months. I don't think his thing is threatened. You win against City are the two other fixtures that could potentially kind of put his job in jeopardy if he survives the City game is the Arsenal and the Chelsea games, right? Apart from that, I
Mm.
think we have a cruisy run of fixtures coming up. But cruisy in what terms? For United, everything seems to be like a mountain that needs to be scaled, right? Um, but I think there was a difference in mindset today, and that was evident. I think Ronaldo had probably the most touches he had in a United shirt since he's come back, which is good. So he was in the midst of all the. I think I read some Twitter note saying he has 37 touches and X passes and stuff like that, which at least he became more involved in the game. So obviously, him being in the game, the quality that he has created some positive impact. Secondly, I just wanted to talk about Bruno Fernandes as well. I think Fernandes didn't play the advanced role that he normally plays, or he, I
Mm.
mean, in bits and pieces, there was something in mind that he kind of stayed back and probably was more involved in connecting the midfield to the attack. What are your thoughts about it? Do you think that kind of played played a role in what was achieved?
Yeah, look, I think him playing a more deeper role was probably more advantageous because
Hmm.
you've got two up front, Chai. There's no
Yeah.
reason why you've got to throw a third man there. And I think
Yeah.
with him sitting a bit more in a deeper role, gives us a bit more potential for penetrating passes where he's really good at doing
Hmm.
that. And you look, we saw clearly from that goal that Ronaldo scored. You know
Yeah.
that pass that he gave Ronaldo. It was an amazing goal. But I think what was more amazing was that pass to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Just found him, pinch perfect. So I think you've got to play to Bruno's strengths, and I think from a deeper midfield position, I
Yeah.
think I think he'd be able to do us, yeah, give us some ammunition from that side of the field. So I'd be
Yeah.
quite happy to see him there.
No, dude. I think you're right. But basically, this kind of throws a curveball into our whole system moving forward, and it's unfortunate, I guess, in the place that always still survives. And all these people who kind of kept saying, "Okay, five at the back, five at the back." Oh, I'm not sure about Conte and stuff like that. Maybe it's time for them to sit back and look at what will probably eventuate if Ole is in charge in this kind of formation. This kind of, I mean, we go on a run with this type of
Mm,
formation change. I think it's just weird to see. And let's not forget, I think Tottenham were piss poor today. Huh? Piss poor. I don't.
yeah.
If it was any other team, I don't know. They could have played through our midfield just as easily as any other game, right?
And I think, yeah, I don't know whether we were fully convincing as well in defense,
Yeah,
especially when you look at that off the corner that was an offside goal. Obviously, our
yeah,
marking was still poor.
yeah,
So look, I don't know. I think there's still some issues there that we've got to sort out.
yeah.
And really, we're quite lucky to get this win. Actually, we were lucky to play against a very poor Spurs team. On
Spurs
another
team, yeah.
day against City or even a Brentford,
Yeah.
we could have, yeah, we could have struggled big time. Um, yeah, Chai. Look, I don't know. I'm thinking right now we've got two more games before the national break. I
Mm,
think we go into this next game with Atlanta,
yeah,
and I think we get a win. I think it'll be a 2-1 win.
yeah.
And against City, I think we win 2-0, is what I'm saying. So
Big,
it's
big
a funny
calls.
game. It's a funny game, football. It's a game of momentum. It's a game of fine
Yeah.
margins.
But you know what? It's as unfortunate as it is. I think uh, no people seem to have forgotten the impact Rashford has had this season since he's come back from injury. Right, he scored in most of the games that he started or came off the bench, except for the Liverpool game. And I think that Rashford deserves credit. I think there's one aspect of his game I would like him to improve, which is obviously looking for a more easier pass for the or assisting the strikers, right? Who I was playing with. But what do you think about his performance? I think I think there's a player there who's raring to go, but I think there's something, either the formation's not kind of fitting him, or the times at which he's come on is probably United's looking down the barrel. I don't know, man. Something about his resurgence. I guess there were times before his injury. I think he had a set of games that he didn't perform, and we were frustrated with Rashford as a player. But I think he's come back. He's raring to go. I think it's a positive, but I don't know how you fit him into the team.
Yeah, exactly right. With his 5-3-2, where do you fit him? Do you fit him as a second
Mm,
striker, or do you play
yeah,
him as a wing back? I think he could do either. But again, are we going to be getting the best out of him if we're playing him in a wing back position where he's going to be defending a lot more when he should be up front?
yeah.
Again, lots of questions about what Solskjaer has done here. And I
Yeah,
think, look, wouldn't even surprise me if with all these talks around Conte, Solskjaer's done
yeah.
some research around Conte to see what Conte has done. 5-3-2. Okay, let's try that and see.
Oh
So
man,
and
it's
see
so
how that goes with
naive.
this team. Dude, I don't know, man. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Rashford's done really well. Rashford's done really well. He's scored in the last, 3 out of the 4 games I think he's played in.
Yeah, except for the Liverpool
Um,
game, I think. Yeah,
Fantastic, Chai. And we missed him. And I just told you how important he is
yeah,
to Solskjaer's team and the way Solskjaer wants to play. As
yeah,
long as he gives Rashford space on the counter, he's absolutely lethal. So
yeah.
yeah, I think he's going to get us a few more goals. Yeah, before the end of the season.
Wh- Which then I just wanted to touch upon the players that are sitting back on the bench, and I don't think they'll ever start. And I think the career is kind of going, I think, away from United for sure. And one of the players that I think I think is done and dusted is Martial. Now, I guess there's no point talking about people who didn't play and the performance that he had put in. But what we always slagged off Martial, and I like Martial, right? I think he's a good player. I think he's a fantastic. He has amazing close touch and stuff like that. But what surprises me about the squad that we have is I think there are a lot of people who never get a chance to play in this team, right? And
Mm,
what we don't realize is our recruiting this season has been prioritizing a 36-year-old striker, and Cavani is just has a season ahead of him, right? Ronaldo has two, probably. Cavani has one. He's going to leave in the summer for sure. What are United thinking in terms of progression? I think uh, is it going to be Greenwood who's going to take over? I mean, it's scary, right? When you think about it.
yeah, Chai. Look, for me, I think more than Ronaldo, I think we really need to keep Cavani. I think
Yeah,
Cavani made the difference for us today up front. I think his movement, his pressing, and his work
yeah,
rate really helped Ronaldo.
yeah,
And I think, yeah, we've got to find a way to keep him. Obviously, he wants to go back to Uruguay to be with his family and all that. So that's not going to
yeah.
happen. But I think I don't see Greenwood coming and doing what Cavani does.
Yeah,
So I think when Cavani leaves, we're going to be finding for that Cavani-like player again, which
yeah,
I don't know whether Haaland does it or what. But I think I've look this game has maybe prompted more questions than
yep,
answers and solutions on what we do going forward. Because I think the squad that we have right now is basically tailored to a 4-3-3 with two
yep,
wingers,
mm-hmm,
but with a 3-5-2, I don't know how those wingers get into the team.
yep,
And again, the futures, if we play with a 3-5-2, well, what happens to Pogba? What happens to Matic? What happens to Van der Beek? Or is McFred going to be the default go-to solution?
yeah,
Mm, and like what happens to Talas? Talas would have ideally been the number one pick for five
yeah,
three two, but he doesn't even get a pick in this team. So
yeah. Man, I think I don't know, dude. As you said, as you rightly said, I think there are more questions than are answers. There is, but I think you know what? I think it's too soon to judge this 5-3-2. I guess it's just. I think he's as you rightly pointed out. I think his coaching staff would have been on various social media channels trying to figure out what the hell was going on. They'll be like, "Oh, I think the 5-3-2. We played that against Paris, didn't we? Yeah, I think we might have won that game. So let's try that because that's always been in our back pocket. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes." And
yeah,
lucky for us, Spurs were bullshit, and whatever we kind of created worked.
yeah. Chai, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you think Varane made a difference for us in the back?
Look,
Do you think it
man,
was just a yeah?
I think there was more of a calming presence with Varane on it. I think Maguire probably had a slightly better game than the last two disasters in terms of, I mean, Leicester City and Liverpool were the last two league games that he played, right? Maguire, since he came back from injury, I think he was not ready for those games. He was just not ready. I think he's taken, there's an immense pressure on Maguire being a United captain, not performing, being the sole perpetrator for all the goals that were conceded. Varane strengthened the defense, but would that be any different if Eric Bailly played there? Probably not. Now that's the question I have.
Mm,
I think we look at the game in isolation and we say, "Oh, I think Varane came in, we did really well and stuff like that." Would that change if Bailly played? I doubt it. Would it change if, let's say, Maguire didn't play and Luke Shaw played on the left centre back and then Bailly and Lindelof played in defence? I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't attribute everything to Varane. Yes, he was a
mm,
calming presence. He did what he had to do, but there were times where he got run out as well, right? I mean,
mm.
there were a couple of instances where he was out of position as well, and then he's
Yeah.
coming back from injury. You don't just put him. I mean, just give him some time to acclimatize, right? You just don't. He doesn't. The problem with United is I don't think Ole has the balls to bench Maguire. He just cannot do it. He doesn't have it in him to do it.
Yeah. This is the problem I have with what Solskjaer wants to do as well. He wants to have a big bench. He wants to have a large squad of players that he can,
Yeah,
so it gives him options. But half the time, he's not even using the options he's got, right?
correct. Then what's the
So
point of having him, right?
what's the point? That's no. There was no need. There was no need to go and buy Sancho. Absolutely no need. There was no need to buy Van der Beek
Yeah.
because when you look at that team, Chai, from the team that Solskjaer took over when he took over 3 years ago,
Hmm.
who's actually changed anything? Who's
Look,
actually come into the team? Maybe Cavani, you could argue, right?
yeah, Cavani.
Maybe.
I think, dude, Cavani is it's no. There's no development for Cavani. Cavani is a finished product. Ronaldo is a finished product. Bruno is a finished product. I or almost a finished product, right? Pogba is a finished product because these guys have so much experience within themselves. Now let's look at the other half. People who actually need the training, right? McTominay needs training. Fred needs training. Luke Shaw required some push. Um, who's that guy? Martial required some push. Martial, I tell you what, Martial, the season when Bruno came into the squad, I think it was a 2019-20 season.
20,
I
yeah,
think he played really, really well. I think he scored about 20 plus goals, and he
yeah.
was form of his life. And then he got injured, right? That's when I thought, okay, Ole is actually helping Martial develop as a
Mm.
player. But then you saw the drastic drop in form once Cavani came in the squad, and then there was that little bit of hiccup with I don't know. I mean, numbers being swapped and whatnot, and not numbers being swapped, but Marshall just had an injury. I think, yeah, it was his injury, and then he just dropped it. Uh,
Mm.
Lingard's not developed. I think he had better games at West Ham than he did at United, so I think they better utilized Lingard. There's no one who I can confidently say Ole's Ole's kind of developed this person, right?
He's
Or
not
player.
cultivated any youth player into the first team. He's not integrated any youth player in the first team. Greenwood, you'd argue, because he was so good ahead of the rest of
Yeah,
the under 18s that
yeah,
it was just logical to bring him in, right? But I
correct.
mean,
But
we've got players like Shora Tire and Elanga and
Elanga,
Ahmad
yeah,
Diallo. Ahmad Diallo is a player who I think has got
yeah,
good potential, massive potential to be a
agreed.
world class player, and
Agreed.
he's rotting away somewhere in the under 18s.
Dude, let alone Diallo rotting, right? You bought Sancho you bought Diallo so you couldn't get Sancho, right? That is the comedy of errors. Look at this. You can't get Sancho, so you get a pound land Sancho. A pound land, I mean, look, Diallo is
Well,
probably
yeah, lesser
unproven, right?
known
Unproven,
player.
unproven,
Yeah.
unproven. So you get him because you couldn't get Sancho. Then you get Sancho. Then his pecking order, Diallo's pecking order, is further dropped, right? And he's been Polastri. I don't know where that guy is anymore, right? He's on loans after loans, right? I don't know why
Yeah.
why did we invest in it? We just invested in him because we thought he could. I mean, fair point. We
Hmm.
want youth, but again, coming back to Greenwood as well, and to your point, Greenwood is a generational talent. At 18, he was better than what most people are at 22, 23, right? And once in a but has he developed from when he was 18 and he first made the squad to today? Or he's just relying on that talent? Because at some point, people who have been trained under like Fodens and stuff like that, young English talent, will surpass him because they're playing under Pep, and Pep is a
Hmm.
better coach and
Better
guide to
coach.
these players.
Yeah.
Then what's unfortunate is Greenwood's not making the England squad either, so he doesn't have that experience to mingle with the
Uh, yeah, like the best
so-called
English,
top. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
players out
talent
there.
as well.
Yeah. So, uh, look, I think
There are a lot of questions to be asked, Gary. This is
look,
just not.
where do we go, Chai? That's the question, I guess. Where do we go now with Solskjaer? I mean, are you convinced he's the man to, revitalize the team and take us to? with his new brand new 5-3-2 formation that he's magically come up with the last 7 days. Do you think
Look,
that's the
I don't know, man. I can't see him being the long term coach. I think we all know that. I think I've lost trust in him. I think whatever he says, no matter what legendary status he's accumulated at the club as a player, I think is just being diminished by the lack of common sense in the way he sets up his teams and tactics as a manager. What what infuriates me more is the fact that you, every game. Okay, look, I mean, you and I have worked under different managers over the course of time, and if there was a manager that thinks it's just the business is just falling apart, and you know it's just a matter of time, how much are you going to just look up to that person as a guide or a coach or whatever
mm,
mentor of sorts, right? And if every month the numbers after every month dictates the term of the manager, you're not going to have, you know, you're not going to be looking at him as a long-term thing, right? He's just their
mm,
name place. So basically, I think what's happened is Ronaldo's probably taken a grip of the taken a hold of the dressing room and said, you know what, regardless of what happens,
mm,
we'll put in a performance of sorts, right? Because
mm,
there's no players, dude. All these players are internationals, right? They know this guy is a short-term manager now, and he's going to be
yeah,
judged game after game after game up until the City game. Every game is his potential last game, right? Right? And
yeah.
you're going to trust his tactics, trust his method. If he's just going to, let's say tomorrow he goes to Cavani and say, "I want you to press more." Cavani will say, "F off, man. You know what?
Fuck off.
I don't think I'll outlast you anyway."
Yeah,
And
and look, I don't know. I think the board's got to make a decision now. Okay, what we do right now, what are our ambitions as a club? Like, I want the club to have some transparency to the fans in terms of what our goals and objectives are for this season. Is it top four? Are we looking to win something, a trophy, a Champions League, a FA Cup, the Premier League? What's our ambition end of the day?
yeah,
From there, I would be more relaxed on
yeah,
what Solskjaer's futures is. I mean,
yeah,
if our target is to win a trophy this season, any way possible, then Solskjaer's definitely got to go. But if the
mm,
club says top four is our ambition and we're okay with
yeah,
that, I'm not going to be happy, but at least
yeah,
I'm going to be more relaxed. I'm not
yes,
going to be venting out because if the club's got no ambition, then there's not much I can do, right? I
correct.
mean, I can, like, I don't buy any merchandise anyway, but there's still, 60, 70,000 of our fans who go to Old Trafford, and it's their
Mm,
right to do that. That's fine. But end of
mm,
the day, like, I'm not going to get frustrated if there's some communication from board level that Manchester United will only be competing for top four season
yeah,
in, season out going forward.
correct.
Then, yeah, there's not much you can do. But I
There's,
think I think I want to believe that our club aspires to be more than top four. I
yeah,
want to believe that. And I think if you're serious, I think there's some discussions already being made in the
yeah,
back, regardless of what happens in the next two games.
yeah,
I have a feeling it's a matter of time.
yeah.
And I think the fact that, dude, okay, you know what's surprising, right? There was a lot of media around Alex Ferguson and how he went to Carrington to to go and get his suits tailored. Apparently, Carrington's not Carrington, sorry, Carrington's got the best yeah tailors
It's a
in the
luxury
whole of
outlet
Manchester.
in
Yeah, that no one
in
knew
amongst everything
about,
else.
but it's there
Yeah,
tucked away somewhere in the corner, right?
yeah,
And so a lot of journalists, the British journalists, actually said that Ferguson did not go and see Solskjaer at all.
mm-hmm.
I think Simon
You went to
Stone
Ronaldo.
and I think Andy Meter came out and said
Yeah,
that he was there for to get his suit tailored. Nothing else happened. He didn't go and see Solskjaer. But then Solskjaer came on his interview, the pre-match interview, and he said that Ferguson actually came to see me with Ronaldo. And so, look, I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a lot of communication. Look, I guess where I'm going with this is that there's a lot of things happening in the background that you're not aware of.
yeah,
So maybe potentially the manager situation could be one of it.
dude. I think it's just normal, right? So you have succession planning in a business that is 1% the size of Manchester United, right?
Mm,
There is always succession planning in business.
mm,
What succession planning, disaster planning, whatever you want to call it, right? There is a plan A, there's plan B, there's plan C. Now, for us, I don't think our plan A is formulated. So obviously, plan B and plan C are as shit as ever. Let's say, for example, the reason Ole is still on the job is because they don't have a replacement, a potential replacement in place, right? Because in this day and age, if you lose about 10 games in a row or 5 games, or you even in the league, right, you make 1 point per game, that's sackable form, right?
Mm,
What if they had to sack Ole? It's okay. When you sack a manager, there's a caretaker manager in shape or form who's the assistant to the manager, right? If you fire our coaching team, which composes of four Tweedledee and Tweedledum asses, um, who's going to take in as a caretaker manager? There's no planning in place, and that's what frustrates me, right?
Fletcher's meant to come
Fle-
in. Juan Mata
oh
is
my
meant to be
god,
head coach. Matic is going to retire and he'll become our second coach. And then who else have we got there? Phil Jones might even take up a coaching role there. So look, we've got the people that Chai.
John O'Shea is training badges,
John
dude. I tell
O'Shea is
you,
there
man.
as well. So yeah, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me. There's no succession planning. There's no plan. There's obviously we thought Solskjaer was going to take us and win us
Yeah,
a league title this year. I don't think that's happening. And the club are hell bent on keeping him there. So we just got to wait and see, Chai. We just got to wait and see
yeah.
what happens.
On
Mm.
that note, Atlanta and City, I think you made your predictions as well. I think Atlanta game will be tougher than what we expect it to be. I think that'll probably set the stage for the City game as well. City having just lost to Crystal Palace, I think they'll just be raring to go. So that'll be a tough game as well. So I think there are two tough games. I think a lot can happen in the coming weeks. I guess we just have to sit and see if what Ole does and how the team responds after this victory. Good victory nonetheless. I think much needed one. I think we've made some. I think two things: consolidated some amount of league position as well as gained traction up against the leaders as well. At least two of
Mm.
them. So overall positive. Performance was okay. I think it's just time will tell whether Ole is the future or not. That's basically my takeaways from this game.
Yeah, time will tell, Chai. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
With that note, thanks guys for watching. Hit that like button. Please also put in your comments there on what you think went wrong, where you think we did well in this game, and what you'd like to see Solskjaer do for the next few games. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to our channel. And until next episode, this is Chai with Gary.